What's up everybody, this is Danny, and today let's take a look at the LG G7 ThinQ. I got some early hands-on time with it, so let's talk about everything that you need to know before buying the G7. And if you already have a G6, is it worth upgrading or should you stick with what you have? When it comes to the design, not a lot has changed. Still have the metal frame and glass build that's slightly curved on the back. It feels like any other premium phone out there. Nothing that stands out, honestly, if I'm gonna keep it 100 here. There's a fingerprint scanner on the back, which is nicely placed. I've never had any issues with LG fingerprint scanners before. There's also a facial recognition mode now, which is also available. So this puts the G7 up to par with other flagships out there. In terms of size, here it is next to the iPhone X. It's taller, but narrower than the iPhone. It's for sure bigger than the Galaxy S9, but smaller than the Galaxy S9 Plus, so it fits in right in between. It's very similar to the size of the Huawei P20 Pro, so that should give you a good idea of what the form factor is like if you plan to pick one of these up. One of the major improvements here is the larger 6.1-inch full vision display. The LG G6 had a 5.7-inch display, so that's a nice bump up. It is Quad HD Plus in resolution, and it's a really nice panel. It's an LCD and not an OLED, but it does have a dedicated white pixel to give you plenty of brightness at 1000 nits, excellent contrast, and colors are great. The viewing angles are nice. So I'll give you more of a breakdown when I get one of these in and spend some more time with it. But yes, there is a notch at the top. They are calling it the new second display, which I'm not sure why. There really isn't any other functionality beyond the Android notification icons, but you can turn this notch off, and you even have some flexibility here in rounding the edges of the display or keeping it flat, and even customize the look of the notch area with different colors or just keep it black. So that's nice. The software is Android 8.0 Oreo. I wish it was 8.1, but it's running LG's UI on top. Not much has changed here, but the one integration that I do like is this dedicated button here on the left side. This is the Google Assistant button. So instead of trying to push their own assistant at you, Bixby, LG is giving the people Google solution, which works perfect in my opinion. We'll have to see how many times this gets triggered while using it. This button is not remappable in the settings, just in case you were wondering. You get the latest and greatest chipset powering the G7, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845, and that is paired with 6 GB of RAM, so this should make this phone buttery smooth, and it comes with 128 GB of internal storage, and yes, there is a micro SD card slot, so you should have plenty of storage to use this as your daily driver. With this beautiful screen, media consumption should be top-notch, especially because yes, there is a headphone jack still there with their stellar quad DAC, which is an ESS Sabre DAC, so headphone audio is gonna be top of the line. There's also a single speaker down at the bottom, which they're dubbing the boombox speaker because they are using the housing of the G7 like an echo chamber to amplify the sound and output of the audio. When you're playing audio, you can seriously feel the whole entire phone vibrating in your hand. It's pretty wild, and it will also have DTS:X 3D surround sound support. Let me just stop talking. Here's an example of what it sounds like.
Let's talk about this plan of yours. I think it's good, except it sucks. So let me do the plan, and that way it might be really good. Wow.
The dual camera setup remains, but it gets a bump up to dual 16 megapixel cameras this year instead of the 13 megapixels found in last year's model. The main camera is a 16 megapixel f1.6 lens, and the secondary is a 16 megapixel f1.9 aperture wide angle lens, which I really love, by the way. I still feel like that the wide angle lens is very underrated, and the front facing camera is 8 megapixels with f1.9 aperture. There are two major things with the camera that stand out this year. First, you have the portrait mode on the front and back cameras. It's nice that you can change the amount of background blur after you take the shot, and from playing around with it for a few hours, it looks like it's pretty capable, so I can't wait to test this more, especially against other cameras, so thumbs up for future camera comparisons on the channel. The second camera feature is the AI that's built in. It will recognize up to 18 different scenarios and objects, so it can take the best picture without you doing anything. It tweaks the saturation and colors and everything on its own. The most impressive is the super bright camera mode, where it basically uses super sampling to combine 4 pixels into one, giving you a brighter picture in low light. I went into a super dark booth and this picture came out visible, which I couldn't believe. So all these features work without data connection, similar to what Huawei's doing. So I'm looking forward to testing all of this out. What's also great is that you get all the manual mode features that you loved with the V30. You get full manual mode on photo and video with all of the creator-friendly video features like choosing frame rate, audio options, and even cine video. So this phone is going to be a beast for beginner content creators. Also, it looks like you can shoot HDR10 video here as well, so that's really nice. The G7 ThinQ looks promising with its muted but premium design. Since it's glass, of course, you'll get support for wireless charging and you get IP68 water resistance, so everything that you would need from a flagship device. My only major concern is the smaller 3000 mAh battery. I hope the optimizations in the chipset and software are enough, because I'm afraid that this might be the weak point of the G7, but I will let you know for sure in the full review. So what do you guys think of the G7 ThinQ? I mean, is there enough improvements here? I think if you have a G6, I think you should be good for another year. The G7 will be available soon in 4 colors: the new Platinum Gray, Aurora Black, Moroccan Blue, and Raspberry Rose. It all depends on the carrier, and there should also be a full unlocked version coming to the market as well. I hope this hands-on gave you a good idea if you want the G7 as your next phone or not. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the coverage. Subscribe for a lot more G7 coverage on the channel, including full reviews and camera comparisons. And I will see you guys in the next one.